back in the air. And so it's a war between ether and iodine. And it's in all things, everything's always a war. It's always a war. And you can go to chemtrailagenda.com. That's the latest website I put up. Had problems the first week I put it up. It's been back up since the first of the month. I talk a lot about the chemtrail agenda and what it is, and a lot of outside sources and links on that website. It's a virtual library on chemtrails over there, that website. And so, we're at a war with the chemtrails. There's 101 reasons why they're doing chemtrails, and there's 101 uses for this orgone that we have, that the Lord gave us. And, folks, there's a big difference between the orgone we make and the orgone everybody else on the Internet makes. I do not support one bit any orgone any other person on the Internet makes. And that's why I have the website link on my site, how to make your own, because that's the way the Lord showed and told me how to make it. So I don't trust anybody else's stuff. I've seen what it does. Some of their orgone, they put in cursed water and they add cursed objects to it. When you change one ingredient, you no longer have orgone, you're making something else. And so that's why we just make simple, strict, follow the instructions exact. We don't add paint to it to make it pretty, because there's chemicals in paint that can affect the composition of orgone. People don't think about this stuff. We keep it simple, and that's how the Lord always is about everything. He keeps things really simple. For years, I was just dreading doing Cleveland. I'm thinking, I would need thousands and thousands of orgone pucks to do Cleveland. It's too big of a job. I'd never get it done. Boo-hoo, I can't do it. And I just sat for 2 years and did nothing about Cleveland. And I'll tell you what, I went up there with 200 and covered the whole place. The Lord makes it real simple. He showed me how to do things. And so don't let your own self, your own mind bug you out and keep you out of the fight and doing certain things. Just ask the Lord for an easier way, a better way of doing it, and He'll lead you to it. That was my trip all last week, just being on the road. Nothing exciting happened. I wasn't shot at. I wasn't run off the road. I wasn't followed. It was just a normal day in Ohio. Up in Cleveland, anyway. I get more action down here in Carrollton. I live in a cow town. I really think they just thought I would not go anywhere, because when I leave, I don't say anything to anyone. I just go. And I talk when I come back. And so probably a lot of you wondering what happened to my radio station last week. It wasn't on. That's because I was gone. And I can't give notice when I leave. Otherwise, I just tell them what I'm doing. And I don't want people always knowing what I'm doing and where I'm going. I don't want to be surveilled and followed the entire time. It gets, it gets annoying. And so I just have to up and leave, and that's what I do. I ordered that Hulda Clark Parazapper. We had a conversation on my orgone list about it last week or so before I left. Was it any good? Did it work? I don't know. I've always kind of felt that anything that would zap parasites, because I think that's the problem with a lot of us who have bloating and IBS and abdominal ingestion problems and asthma, and the list goes on of all these ailments that people have. And so Hulda Clark site is something I stumbled on 2 years ago, something I stumbled on last year, something I went back to this year, something I'm always on. And so I went ahead and ordered this thing, I turned it on, and I'm holding these copper tubes. Like, okay, I don't feel anything. I expected to feel something, like an electrical current or something to let me know it's working other than the light that says it's working. I felt nothing. So for 30 minutes, I sat there and held this thing. And, after about 10 or 15, 20 minutes, you start to feel something. I felt woozy, so I go, it must be working. I'm feeling woozy. And so I did it for 30 minutes, and then in a couple days I'll do it again for 30 minutes. I think the first week you're supposed to do it 3 times. They can't tell you on their website how to do it. You have to order the book, because the FDA is really clamping down, and I'm trying to put them out of business. And so that's how you know this is probably a good device, because the FDA is all over them trying to put them out of business, and eventually these parazappers will be hard to find. They won't work right. I know there's some that Don Kraft made or whoever, somebody that put pennies in them for the electrodes and that don't work. They're cheap. Get the one at paradevices.com is where I got mine. I got the Parazapper Plus at paradevices.com, and supposedly just for water and animals. Read between the lines, folks. and it will tell you with zapping all the different ailments and stuff that it can help. It's not a magical cure, but it can help you. A majority of people who get these zappers notice an improvement, and so, it's better than nothing. It's better than just being miserable all the time. My son has asthma, and so having him do hold this thing, these copper pipes for 30 minutes a day, and see if it helps. Asthma is just a result of allergies. So, a lot of you with irritable bowel syndrome or bloating or whatever. And so I'm going to see if this works. I'm going to try it for a while. Try it for a while and see if it works. Another thing I wanted to bring up is this whole thing. Every time about Easter, people get antsy about it. Is the rapture coming? Is Maitreya coming? Is the Antichrist coming? Is America going to war with Iran? We are going to war, folks. It's going to be a huge mess. Probably Israel will attack Syria while America attacks Iran. In retaliation, Iran will attack America. I don't know all the specifics, but I do know that it's it's in the pot and it's brewing, and eventually it's going to boil. And so, definitely going to see some more wars going on, and some attacks here, because that's what it's all about, folks. It's about the New World Order rising out of the ashes of America. And so America has to be taken down. And we're going to be taken down through terrorism by our government and martial law. Let's call a bird a bird. Let's call a spade a spade. It's our government behind these terrorists, funding them, telling them what to do. They took down WTC. They were behind Oklahoma. And they're behind any future terrorist attacks here in America. Because the New World Order wants to bring down America. It's the phoenix bird of the New World Order. Out of the ashes of America will arise the New World Order. And so I find it interesting that when you look in future events in the Bible codes, the Chinese are always so dominant. Why are the Chinese dominant? Because they're here in America. You understand? Why would the Chinese be in America, folks, in 2009, huh? And so you need to prepare. You need to prepare. I've been saying that forever, because you can never start early enough. I mean, just 2 years ago, just putting 1 or 2 things back a week, if you started doing that because you don't have a lot of money to go out and stock up on a lot of things all at once, all of a sudden, 2 years later, you have a nice little stockpile, huh? Yeah, Don't wait till the last minute, folks, because when you wait till the last minute, so is everybody else, and then the stores are empty, and there's nothing to buy. And so, start doing it slowly. Be diligent. Be quiet about it. Don't let your neighbors know what you're doing. Don't let people know what you're doing, because when they're hungry, the first thing they're going to head is to your house with a 12 gauge. So be diligent and just do your work, do what you're supposed to be doing, and do it quietly. Not everybody's appointed and assigned to be a blabbermouth. I am the official blabbermouth, and so I'll take all the trouble and all the heat later, and that's okay. But the Lord's people, you know who you are, and you're out in the mountains and the highways and the byways and islands and everywhere all over the world, quietly preparing, getting ready, hearing the Lord's calling on what area and what things you should be doing. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Because He has many of you hidden. You're hidden. And He wants it that way. But when Maitreya comes, the Arabian beast is not Satan. He's one of the beasts. He's a pawn of Satan's, but he's not Satan himself. The one who is Satan is Sananda, the one that is coming from the Capricorn ship. And the Capricorn ship is this huge UFO. And it's called the Capricorn. And he looks like a Jesus, the Jesus we have hanging in our churches. That's what the Sananda, that's Satan. It's Satan, folks. And so he's going to come from the Capricorn on Earth. So when Maitreya comes, I believe Maitreya will be the first beast that arrives. And then Jesus, Sananda,